Hello and welcome to Bonus Bookworms. It's the show where we talk about bonus books after reading those books. I'm your host, Alex.
And Joe.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Not happy with you again, Alex.
Oh, why is that?
You made me do it again. Read a book I did not want to read.
Yeah, to be fair, I wasn't going to make you do it. And then, we're discussing bonus episodes, and you're like, all right, we're doing it.
That's not how I remember that conversation going. It's more like, man, this is my favorite book. I want to read the second one. I'm like, fine, we'll do it.
Yeah, so this is our special Valentine's Day episode. We are doing a sequel to a book we've already done.
I think this is our first sequel, too, isn't it?
I believe so, yes.
Pretty sad state of affairs.
Yeah, honestly, I want to do everything this author's done. I'm obsessed with this author now.
I don't know if you saw at the back of the book, she has her own reading list, too.
Yes. Yeah, there's a couple of those I want to check out. I'm getting really into this style of literature, and I couldn't be more happy about it.
He's dumber than ever. He's never been so stupid. His IQ is literally falling off a cliff every page he reads of these.
Yes, but it's falling onto a fine feather pillow. We are talking about the book Double Stuffed by Sylvia Morrow, a sequel to a personal favorite of mine that we've done for the show, Stuffed.
I'm going to strangle you.
If you remember, I was a big fan of the first book. Joe was not a big fan of the first book. We did that episode with our wives.
They begged us not to force them to do it by gunpoint again. I think Becky was crying. There were tears involved anyways.
Yeah, it was an ugly sight. But yeah, so Joe and I...
Of course, Alex was crying tears of joy because he's like, I can't wait to read this.
Yes, Joe and I are going to perform a solo act on this one. And just dive deep.
We start off with basically Ori and what's her name?
This is very.
And
the energy levels in this episode are going to be very lopsided. We start off with the back of the book, of course.
How could I forget? Let's extend this even longer. Add to that torture. I'm reading another book right now, Alex, called The Gulag Archipelago. I feel like if Russia really wanted just to break the spirit of those prisoners, they should have just had Moreau writing for them, because then they would have been like, please put the bullet in me.
Yeah, we get who did that? Alexander
Solzhenitsyn.
Yeah, he's like, if only he'd had the choice during his lifetime. It's like, you can either work 20 years in a Siberian prison death camp, or you can read Stuffed and Double Stuffed. What do you think he would have chosen?
Prison camp.
Yeah, that's highly disrespectful. All right, anyways, the back of the book says...
Alex, I would have chosen prison camp.
I would have read this book twice. What are you talking about? Anne and Ori got their happy ending in Stuffed. But what happens when the feathers are swept away and they need to handle more than fluff? Ori, now addicted to fan fiction and the concept of the Omegaverse, has no job and no goals other than making Anne happy and raising his pet fish, Carl. Having enough of his layabout lifestyle, Anne decides to bring them to the one place in town guaranteed to get Ori out of his case, the mall. After a day of excitement, a frightening encounter in the mall causes a terrifying change in Ori. Then Ori causes an even bigger change in one of their friends, a friend they're now responsible for, who's now human for the first time, and who's madly in love with Anne. Can Ori accept the consequences of his actions when his relationship with Anne is at stake? Can he overlook the feelings developing inside his own feathery heart for this new man in his life? Will Anne reject one man to protect Ori? What will happen when she sees the chemistry between the two newly human men? When things start to get fishy and problems rise to the surface, who will end up double stuffed?
Okay, I need something to throw at Alex right now. I
gotta say, the drama described in the back of the book does nothing to accurately describe what actually happens in this book.
Is it better, Alex? Is it better?
Well, it's just like the like the drama of like will he like the love triangle she's trying to describe here doesn't actually happen because it turns out Ori is pretty willing to have Carl be part of their throuple.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right, Carl the fish is part of their throuple.
Yeah. I hope you like a little fishy breath.
But yeah, we start off with Ori.
Yeah.
There's multiple perspectives in this book. We get Anne, of course. We get Ori, and eventually Carl comes into the picture. But the book starts with Ori.
And this book was so long. It was only 206 pages, but it was so long.
Yeah, this book is about... it's over twice the length of Stuffed. Stuffed was like a quick little like fun romp.
Stuffed was around 50 to 60 pages, and this was just over 200. So
yeah,
almost 4 times the length.
Yeah, she's added a lot of, I guess, like character development and.
Is that what you call that?
There's more plot line to it.
Oh, plot? I missed that, Alex.
There's, the plot of will they, won't they have a 3-way.
And the Omegaverse. The Omegaverse.
Yes, we learn about the Omegaverse. It's really funny. Anyway, the book begins with Ori talking to his goldfish. Carl, I say to our goldfish, prepare yourself for a night of having to listen to loud and boisterous intercourse. Louder than usual, I should say. So that's the kind of dialogue we're getting in this one. I do want to point out right away this Sylvia Morrow's greatest strength in this book, which is the character of Anne. Because if you remember Anne from the first book, if you haven't listened to the first episode of Stuffed, pause this, go listen to that one, and then come back to this. But Anne in the first book is... Anne in the first
Sorry,
book...
I'm having an allergic reaction to this book.
Anne you're allergic to down. So
I'm just allergic to really bad smut books, I think.
Okay. Anne in the first book is... she's not... nice. She's very reactive, very angry, very embittered. She does not come across as likable on the page. However, in this book, there's a huge transformation now that
I guess a pillow's cock will do that to you.
Yeah. Now that she's got
and his tentacles.
Yeah. Now that she's got some stability in her life, which comes from a magical pillow man that can induce tentacle porn. Whatever's to her, she's much calmer, much more open to things, and I don't know. It's like a cool little.
Also, the new job.
Yeah, the new job. It's just a cool little thing to see, like that transformation, like right away that kind of happened in like the 3-month span between the first book and this book. Oh, I thought that was admirable writing for the author here, because like. I don't know, you're talking about like the writing itself. Yeah, it's not very strong, but there's some decent character development in this book, which I found to be amusing.
Wow.
It's her greatest strength is developing those.
And Carl's development, that's been good too.
Yeah, he develops from a goldfish into a human.
Yeah, I got pissed off right from the get-go because of the simpering devotion of Ori. It's ugh. Like if this is a red flag, people. If your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever is this psychotically devoted to you, run away.
Also, if he's a talking pillow.
Yeah, talking pillow.
Yeah. Yeah, think about like any
a talking pillow that sucks the life force out of other people.
Yeah, any like kink that you see in hentai pornography, that's basically Ori. That's what he's into. That's what he does. The first book, he does tentacle stuff. This one, we get into Omegaverse and a couple other things. Are you getting into
the Omegaverse now, Alex?
It's a hard pass for me. It's not my thing. No, I mean, like, don't knock it till you try it, but it's not my thing.
Okay.
But yeah, so Anne and Ori, they're living in this happy little couple.
Do you have a goldfish we have to look out for?
No goldfish here. I got the cat. The cat would demolish the poor goldfish. As we learned from the cat cafe, cats can always tell when there's a goldfish nearby. But yeah, they happy little couple, Anne and Ori. They're living together. They're just having sex whenever they want. It's a good time. But yes, Ori has become a little too obsessed with Anne. And he's also gotten way too into fan fiction and weird anime kinks. I shouldn't say weird, that's kink shaming, but he got into anime kinks, and he's become recently obsessed with the Omegaverse. He's kind of like this humorous thing where he's like trying to introduce it to Anne, the whole concept of the thing, even though she watches hentai all the time and reads a lot of fan fiction herself and is wildly familiar with what the Omegaverse is already.
I had to say, the whole Omegaverse thing, I was expecting more. I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I thought there was more to it. Also, just like it's like the three like levels of like relationships. Like you got the alpha, the beta, and the omega, and that's really
for a kink centric book. It was just very badly done for the kink. It was just it was a letdown.
Yeah, I wonder if like people who like Omegaverse is widely used like in fan fiction. It's not usually a something you see IRL, but I wonder if like people who are into that sort of thing read this and they're like,
is Omegaverse an actual thing?
Oh yes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And it's just 3 levels of alpha, beta, omega.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, and there's like that power dynamic between everybody, and yeah.
They actually call it Omegaverse.
Yes.
See, I thought the author just made that up. It was just like she didn't know what else to call it 3-way.
Oh no, there's a whole concept behind it. Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta write what you know. That's all I'm saying.
Well, she obviously doesn't know what an alpha, beta, or an omega are because they kept swapping roles.
Yeah, or he just kind of saw himself as the alpha because like Anne discovered she likes a little bit of dominance in the bedroom, so he's like he kind of gets a little too into it with like referring to himself as the alpha.
And Carl's a beta, and yet he acts like an alpha whenever it's convenient.
No, he always acts like a beta.
No.
Yes.
Because when Anne wants to be the submissive one, he's like, okay, here we go.
Well, yeah, but like he has to wait for permission from the alpha to be with Anne.
Except that he has just basically whenever you want permission.
Yeah, when you got a blanket invitation to do it. But yeah, but like I mean, Anne's the one who doesn't really go for the omega position because it's like
so we're getting a little distracted here.
Yeah, there's always that consensual aspect where like Anne's like, no, I'm not doing that. Fuck you guys. But
we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. They go to the mall. Ori flat out murders 2 mall cops.
Yeah, so Anne and Ori, like
after they fuck in the empty shop.
Yeah, so Anne decides Ori is a little too obsessed. He's getting too caught up with stuff like the back of the book says. He's getting caught up on things, and his only obsession is Anne. She recognizes that, and rather than throw him out, she's like, let's go to the mall instead. Let's do something other than just sit here and have you worship me. So they go to the mall.
It's tough to be worshipped all the time, Alex.
Yeah, they find an empty closet. They bang in it.
Yeah.
And then they come out, and 2 security guards immediately grab them and push them back into the closet.
And because they touched Anna, that's human flesh, and he's just like, you can't do that.
They want to watch Ori and Anna fuck. But yeah, they touched Anna, and Ori just flat out murders both of them. Like he grabs, like he gets his powers by having to absorb it from humans to assume a human shape, but he just like grabs them, pulls their entire humanity out of them until they are nothing but ashes, right in front of Anne. He just completely just 86s these 2 dudes, and they flee the mall. They get back home. They're really shaken up about it for about half a page, and then I think Ori cracks a joke about it. And they realize, though,
Ori is full human now.
He's absorbed too much, and he's lost all of his pillow. And it's such a weird, like, this happens so fast. Like, he's like, you wonder, like, oh boy, there's going to be some drama now that he's human. But no, that lasts for another 2 pages, because
not even.
Anne accidentally falls over, bumps the fish tank, breaks it open, Carl's flopping on the ground, and
Carl dies.
Yeah. Ori grabs Carl and instead of absorbing his power, gives him his power and turns him into a human
with scales, golden scales.
Yeah, he's got a kind of almost like a shimmer in the light. So yeah, Carl
sparkles.
So Carl becomes human. Ori loses some of his humanity, so he becomes Pillow again.
But because he got so much power, he never has to absorb anybody again.
Yeah, I love that. I love this fantasy. It's so great.
So stupid. So stupid.
Yeah, so they
and they start Carl off as a real bitch of a human being, where he's like a man-child that's obsessed with Anne. Because
Yeah,
Anne
so-
really needs two obsessed men following her around like lapdogs.
So Carl, yeah, he's very confused because he's been a fish all his life. Well, now he's all of a sudden a human. So he's a quick learner. He picks up on a lot of stuff. He's insanely good looking also. Like Anne keeps checking him out and feeling bad about it because Ori's supposed to be the only person. But then Ori does this weird thing where he like quasi assaults Carl in the woods.
Yeah, basically he sexually assaults Carl, and Carl comes from it. And Ori's like, "That's exactly what I wanted," which is just weird.
Yeah, but
Very,
then he
very weird.
Yeah. Then he like severely walks it back by saying like, "Oh, by the way, like because he does that to assert dominance over Carl, so that Carl won't go after Anne because he's in love with Anne because Carl designed him that way. Very, very God style of him."
It's just like everything that's Carl was basically, even though in this was a moment of panic to push all this power into him, it's like, oh, I meant to do this to make Carl just this way. It's just the perfect counter to me for Anne. It's like, no, you didn't. You were panicking because you were human and Carl was dead.
Yeah, it was like, it's the writing's a little inconsistent on what actually happened, but I don't know if this was always Ori's plan was to make Carl, but it seems that way because like he needed a beta because they have the alpha and the omega, but you can't have the thruple without the beta, so he makes Carl, and Carl's obsessed with Anne. They all get jobs, which kind of helps with the obsession a little bit.
I thought this was very unfair for Carl because Anne's doing the job that she loves. Carl has to learn how to read and become human, and he has to go out and work with people on a daily basis at a swimming pool as a lifeguard, which, okay, whatever. Makes sense because he's a fish boy. But he's fending off men and women all the time. And what does Ori do? He's a webcam model.
Yeah.
It's like, how come Carl can't be a webcam model? Yeah, it would have made more sense. Sit in front of the computer and pose.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, like the weird upset. Like Carl is designed to be the best looking one of all of them. Like he's everything Ori is, but he's also everything Ori is not. Because Ori is tall and lanky. Carl's built and blonde.
He's not built though. He's built like a swimmer or a runner. So
he's got thick legs.
Ori is built like a muscular built, where Carl is a runner's body or a swimmer's body. So much more streamlined because he's a fish.
Ori reveals to Anne's like, "Hey, Carl, if you're interested in Carl, like nothing you do with him is going to take away what you feel for me. If this is what you guys want, I actually am encouraging you to do this." And so like he keeps kind of pushing them closer and closer together. And like Anne kind of likes Carl because they can like eat food together, so they have that in common, which is great. Which she doesn't have with Ori. Eventually, though, like they talk Anne into at least going on a date with Carl.
So here's something I'm confused about. Ori keeps going on. He only wants what's best for Anne, but Anne keeps saying no, and he keeps pushing because it's what he wants, and he wants the Omega verse, and I'm just like, but that's not what. I mean, maybe Anne's body language is saying differently because you made a sexy another half-naked man sitting around her all the time, but she keeps saying no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming with how Sylvia Morrow wrote it, like Ori just knows, like, deep down, like, Anne would enjoy this, and it just takes kind of getting her to get out of her comfort zone and try it.
It's that dominance of, I'll make you like it, which isn't real dominance. It's just icky dominance that people seem to like to read about that.
Yeah, even after like the big, like final scene, like Anne's immediately like, "Hey, can we just go back to having normal sex?" I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's definitely Ori can be a little more complex than just worshiping Anne. He definitely has his own ulterior motives that he hides from people. Because we even see
red flags, a lot of red flags, people.
We even see it at the end of the first book because he kills their landlord and hides it from Anne. So yeah, he's capable of keeping secrets, and he's capable of having.
Now, during all this, we also learned that Ori has a brother.
Yeah, yeah. This is probably the worst part of the book for me was the finding out he had a brother, because it just comes out of nowhere and then it's immediately gone again.
But it comes back in the end, Alex.
It finally comes
back in the end. There's a payoff. Yeah. The 372 pages, guys, would have been happy for that payoff.
Yeah, this is it's Chekhov's sex pillow. They Ori goes to it's a furniture store, right? Or
it's like a Walmart.
Walmart, Bed Bath & Beyond, that kind of just they sell a bunch of shit.
It's a Walmart, maybe a Target.
And his brother's working there. He's this goofy redheaded guy who's made out of a comforter.
But he had another phoenix feather stuffed in him, so
another phoenix feather, and he buys a mystery item from his brother. And that's all we got. Meanwhile, Carl and Anne are at a cat cafe, and hilarity ensues.
Because who would have not thought about, hey, let's go to a cat cafe where we pet cats with a guy that's literally a fish.
Yeah, the cats tell right away that he's a fish, and they all just flock to him.
They know that Ori can't go because he's a pillow, and cats like to claw pillows. But hey, the fish man, he'll be fine.
Oh, we forgot to mention the reason they go on a date is because Ori convinces Carl to go take a shower with Anne, and he ends up going down on her in the shower.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I wanted to comment. So he keeps going on and on about how Carl has never seen a naked woman before, and apparently he gets very weird around women or any sort of sexual stuff. But he's a fucking master with the tongue, and is able to do quite knowledgeable things just out of the blue with zero practice. It's not like Ori, who's as a pillow literally spending months watching Anne masturbate on him.
Yeah, and also he obsessively watches videos on how to please her.
Yeah, and so Carl's just a naturally gifted fornicator.
Some people got it, man. I don't know. But yeah, they go back home, and just the connection they can't resist anymore. They start undressing each other.
And they have the perfect sex.
Yeah, they do. It begins with Anne saying, "Mate with me, little fish. I need you inside me." I can't even.
This is literature for Alex now.
Yeah, there's more.
You have the Russian novelists, like we were talking about Solzhenitsyn, some of the greatest authors that ever lived, and then we have this, and this is what Alex has gone to.
He shows a little bit of hesitance. He's like, "You'll take my seed then, Anne? You really want me? You're sure? I promise I'll be careful. I'll..." And then she interrupts him. "Carl," I stop him before he can get into a panic. "Just fuck me." "Oh, sure."
Even the cat's walking away now.
Yeah, so they do it, and it's perfect until Ori comes home. And Ori can tell right away. Well, he catches them in bed. And Joe just got attacked by my cat. That was great. Carl sees him, and his first reaction is to say this. "Oh, hello there. And what have you two been up to? Here I thought you were out visiting a pussy cafe. Didn't know you decided for homebrewed instead."
I think I had to put the book down at that point and just say, why? Why am I putting myself through this?
Funny.
I should have just pretended to read this and just have Alex talk. Because he could have filled this whole hour.
Yeah, that would have been great. So, I read House of Leaves and then tried to explain the plot to you. I should have done that with this book. Maybe when the third one comes out. There's definitely
we're not doing the third one, Alex.
Oh, that's what you think. Then we'll be starving for content, and then you'll be like, "All right, fine."
I think there's a lot of books out there that we can pick over these books.
I don't know. This, I'm gonna kind of shoot my shot here and say this is probably the best weird romance book series I have read.
How many have you read?
Not many, but it's better than the rest.
How many have you read?
3 or 4.
Series or standalone books?
Standalone books.
So this is the best series you've read out of all those standalone books.
Yes. But yeah, anyway.
So as I said, Alex's IQ dropping off a cliff, plummeting like a brick, about to smash into a concrete surface
Yeah, pretty much.
of 0. He's down to his last 2 brain cells right now.
Yeah. But Carl finally convinces, or not Carl, Ori finally convinces Anne to commit to the Omegaverse because he does some gay shit with Carl, and Anne watches and gets all horned up and starts begging for it. Because that makes sense, right? Because he's doing all of her favorite hentai stuff. And she just gets super into it. She agrees to it. The reason they needed Carl is because when Ori finishes, he ejaculates feathers, and so he can never finish inside of Anne, so he needs someone who can finish inside of Anne to finish up this fantasy, which involves something called knotting.
It's what dogs do.
Yeah, that's more involved in like bestiality, which is kind of weird. But anyway.
Yeah, it's a dog thing. At least he didn't want to do what the cats do. With the barbed dicks.
Yes, yeah.
So at least we had that be thanking our lucky stars.
Yeah. So they.
No, it'd be really nice if he had more of a duck dick, because those rot off.
Oh yeah, and it's corkscrew shaped too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, they practice. They do a little bit of double penetration. That Ori knots up his pillow dick and gets Carl stuck in there and gets him to. This is kind of disappointing. He only just has him finish twice, and then that's it.
And then he finishes, and then
he finishes in the pile of Carl's finish.
Yeah, that's drooling down her leg.
So
then he takes Carl with some tentacles.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of tarring and feathering, but sexual.
Yeah, Carl takes some tentacles up the bum, and he enjoys it.
Yeah, says it's all just like a big old bisexual gangbang, and it's a good time.
Yeah, again, I was expecting more stuff from this Omegaverse. It was just like, they're not really. I said, they weren't really fulfilling their roles consistently, and then all it ends up being is just a 3-way with tentacles.
Yeah, I was hoping for more, honestly, but I don't know if I was hoping for more. I was expecting more, but
I was expecting something that was actually like a little bit more complex in the scene.
Yeah, you kind of expect it. Like you knew there was going to be a 3-way at the end of it.
Yeah,
like it's just. I mean, how
it's in the title of the book.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but it was literally just a double penetration, two cocks, one hole.
Yeah, and just the fact that he can swell up his penis to lock the other in there.
Yeah, he can make himself whatever size he wants.
Yeah, like that part was like an interesting part, but yeah, it's kind of weird. We're just saying like, all it was a 3-way. I'm so disappointed.
But again, he can literally create tentacles and have a double penetration that way, and has done that before too. So it's like, okay, so basically you just, it's not even the double penetration. It's just 2 dudes, 1 girl. That's literally what this Omegaverse was just, okay, that's just a 3-way.
Yeah,
a male, female.
Yeah, and then they just kind of drop it at the end because Anne wants to go back to just having regular sex with her now 2 lovers.
Yeah, but then we get 3 months later again. It's a Christmas.
Yeah, and
her hard limit, Anne's hard limit, no babies.
Yeah,
but otherwise,
yeah, no surprise pregnancy kinks.
Yeah, but otherwise, Ori's allowed to come up with another kink for when she's ready, which is 3 months later. And he has a big surprise.
Yeah, and they give Carl, like, to introduce him into more of this kind of weird romance. They give him a stack of books to read.
Romance books, because he doesn't like the fanfic.
Yeah, so it's like, I fell in love with the Swamp Thing, and there's like something about doors. I don't know.
Yeah, and we get the full book list of recommended readings from Morrow. I don't think they're all her books even.
No. They're like her inspirations for her writing.
She needed inspiration to come up with this drivel.
Yes. Where do you get your ideas?
Not drivel.
Yeah, so the big cliffhanger ending, though, is Anne opens up a box that has a flame in it. And it's like a phoenix fire. And Ori reveals...
And a map.
Yeah, Ori reveals everything, and it's gonna wind up like a Paddington into Peru situation where they have to go on an adventure. Ori reveals he has a brother. He reveals that he does not want Carl and Anne to die because he's immortal and they're not. So he wants to lead them to a place where they can find eternal life.
So here's a question. So he keeps sucking life out of other people to become immortal. He can then push that life into Carl to bring him back to life from the dead. So it's literally, she's literally fucking a zombie fish, if we want to get real technical here. Yet he can't suck the power out of, and obviously no one cares that he's killing people because they kind of laugh about it afterwards every time. He could literally just suck power out of some dirtbag and keep the other, push it into Anne or Carl and keep them alive.
Yeah, absolutely nobody cares. Like, there's no follow-up whatsoever.
It's
no consequences at all for killing two people.
Two security guards just disappear. Everyone at the mall like, they were a couple of losers anyways. They kept going to that unused store with customers that would sneak in there, and the people would leave crying, and those guys would be happy and weird and high-fiving, and they're just creepy. So we're glad they're gone. They had no families to care about them, and
yeah, and it sounds like the store at the mall they're obsessed with was like a Spencer's Gifts.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't know if like someone like Anne's age would be found dead in a Spencer's Gifts, but I don't know. That's just
especially with all her phobias of touching anything and being around people.
That store is bullshit. It's so claustrophobic and disgusting.
Yeah. There's just...
But anyway, so that's...
Yeah, so book 3 is going to, if Sylvia Morrow ends up writing it, depending on if the fans want more... Which Alex is, I'm sure Alex is emailing her as we speak. It's going to be about that adventure of them trying to find the Phoenix to make the.
If we had a chance to get Sylvia Morrow on our show to debut Stuff 3, would you do it?
No.
Oh my God! I can't believe you wouldn't do it.
Just no, Alex.
Man, you're missing out.
What is it going to be called? Triple Stuffed?
I don't know. It could be. There's a pun in there somewhere.
Is it going to be Stuffed Gangbang? Gang stuffed?
I don't know.
We'll leave it. We gotta work on some titles here.
We'll leave it to the creative people, Joe. I don't know. But anyways, so that's Double Stuffed. 200 pages of fluffy goodness, if you ask me.
Nobody's asking you, Alex. Matter of fact, I think they're all they've turned the show off at this point. They're like, yeah, Joe's the smart one of the family. We'll just listen to his picks from now on.
Yeah. I think if there's one book you could to read along with when you're listening to our show, this is the one.
I think you're full of shit.
And with like all this going on, it's just like it's got this like sweet undertone because they all do care about each other. Like a lot of times when you read books that have a lot of kink in it, there's usually like a negative connotation associated with it, but like this one, at least like on paper, it's like, oh, that sounds really nice. They all really love each other. That's great. This is what a perfect society would look like without any jealousy or fear.
With lots of red flags, people. Yeah, lots of red flags.
Yeah, you just got to ignore all the red flags and hope for the best, and things will work out for you just like they did for Anne.
So I got some questions for you, Alex.
Please do.
Why is Alex a perverted asshole?
I'm usually not. Like, I'm actually like a pretty chill guy. Just like I saw.
You're very prudish.
Yeah,
you get really red when anything comes up about sexual things.
I don't know. These
very red in the face.
These books just bring it out of me. Like I don't know. It's just it.
Next question. Was this book better or worse than the first one?
I'm gonna say it was not as good as the first one. The first one was just 80 pages of like, wow, this is coming at you fast. This one, yeah, I think the length. If you're gonna go full character development like Sylvia was trying to do, actually, I would actually recommend making it longer and like delving into more storytelling techniques rather than just kind of throwing everything onto the page and maybe a couple more drafts if you're gonna go this long. But if it's gonna be a quick romp, 80 pages, perfect length. I thought stuff was great for that reason. This one, it's still fun. It's still good. I do like the more, I guess, intimate feel you get from it because there is that definite feeling of like you're watching people just kind of fall in love, and it's cute in a kind of weird way. But the first one is better.
So this one might burst your bubble a little bit. Is it possible that Sylvia Morrow used AI to write this?
I think it's always possible. I mean,
I think there's a lot of stuff in there that was like, yeah, this could be AI writing it.
yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I do hope she wrote it all.
It is becoming more and more prevalent, and the books people are putting out, especially in this sort of genre stuff, the smut genre. They just pump it out as fast as they can.
Well, if we had her on our show, we could ask her. But I'm gonna.
I think that's the kind of question that she'd get very offended by.
Yeah, I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt, just like I would for any writer, and think the best of them, that they would not use AI to write it.
So you put her up there with the best of them?
As far as like independently released fantasy smut books, yes.
Yeah. Final question: should Alex be allowed to pick any more stories after these books?
Dear God, I hope not.
My vote is never. We will put this in the Spotify poll. Please, please, please go into the Spotify polls and vote. No, Alex is no longer allowed to pick any books for this podcast anymore.
Well,
we're canceling the rest of his 8 book picks and all the bonus book picks.
Thank God. Less work the better. That's what I said.
Well, you still have to read all the books I pick, Alex.
I'm gonna find a book about a sentient Spotify poll for you. But yeah, sound off on the comments if you want more Morrow. Because like, I don't know, it's like kind of saying it kind of tongue in cheek, but I actually did enjoy. It's just fun. It's like a breakaway from a lot of the other stuff we read, because we read a lot of serious books, and this one, it's a lot less serious, and it's just a lot of fun to talk about.
The less serious books I read are still just as good, Alex.
It's so ridiculous and over the top.
And Douglas Adams, and I'm losing brain cells just talking about this stupid book.
Yeah, and I do think, like, again, this, like, the strong point of this book, like those books, like even like Night Watch, when we read that, had like I was talking about, like, police, like what's the role of a police officer, and it's got these huge social commentaries that go with it. This one, not so much. Like, it's got some, I think its portrayal of Anne and her anxiety was very respectfully done and accurate. However, like
for my January Keen Book Club. Yeah. I gotta pick the book. I did Equal Rights.
Equal
by Terry
Rights.
Pratchett.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm so excited to discuss that one. Now there's 250 pages that would have been worth reading, Alex. We should have done that one.
Well, maybe someday.
Okay, that's all I got, Alex. I'm toast.
And I'm stuffed. All right. Well, yeah. But yeah, that's all I got. So that was Double Stuffed by Sylvia Morrow. Hopefully this isn't the last time we hear from her on this podcast.
It will be, but that's neither here nor there, I guess.
Yeah, we'll discuss in the back office. Tune in next Valentine's Day for a special surprise.
Anyways, if you are still listening and want to give us a second chance or a third chance, please, give us the benefit of the doubt. It's usually not this terrible of a book. We have we have the good books on the 5th of every month, and then on the 20th of every month we pick something that's usually more fun.
Yeah, give us a 1-star review, and then like just give us so many like positive comments in your in the comment section, please.
But yeah, please like and review us, rate us. We're on all the major podcast apps, but as I said, Spotify, I can put up polls occasionally, so go rate us on Apple. We have an email, kendallbookworms@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, @kendallbookworms. You can DM us there if you follow us, and give us book ideas to read, and we will review them. Please, please, otherwise we have to do another one of these stupid things.
My ideas are turning in my head.
Yeah, it's just no. Just no. We've learned too much about Alex's sexual fantasies here.
It's not my fantasies. I just like reading about other people's fantasies.
We have a Facebook. We're on YouTube. I understand that we're putting out double episodes. I don't know why it's doing it. One will post immediately. The other one takes anywhere between 2 hours and 2 weeks to go up.
So listen to us twice.
So yeah, just keep listening. But we'll figure that out someday. Alex has some books for sale.
Yep. Paul Plimpton vs. Ragnarok and The Destroyer. Buy Stuffed instead, though.
Please don't. Just buy Alex's books.
And my books. You can enjoy both.
Give Alex enough money, he can start writing his own smut books.
I can finally stop writing these kids' books and write smut books instead.
We're hosted by Podbeam, and I believe that's all I got. I'm done. I'm done.
Joe had a long day. He didn't want to have to come do this, but
I've been dreading this all day long. Like, shit, we're doing this book today. God damn it.
and I made him drive over to me.
Yeah, Alex didn't even have the good decency to come to me for this one. Just bad day. Just a bad day.
It gets worse and worse. All right, but yeah, thank you all for listening. That was Double Stuffed. I'm Alex.
And I'm Joe.
And this has been Bookworms.
Out.